YouTube, Robinic, RBJ2K, thank you for tuning to the channel, thank you for tuning to the video. Look, at the time I'm recording this, it's about to be Thanksgiving, so I just want to say, look, I'm thankful for you guys clicking on the channel, supporting it, hating on it, whatever. We're building this channel, and I really do appreciate you guys. Look, you saw the title of today's video. Before we get into it, go ahead and grab your beverage of choice. You know how we do. I got the black coffee with the coffee stain on it, but I'm excited. I took a week off last week. I want to get back into the rhythm and the flow, finish this year out strong. I brought you guys a swag harden review that I made. I made this build outright, actually. You know what we do here on the channel is I'm gonna build this outright if I can. If I can't, I'm not gonna build it outright. But Swag dropped a fire harden build, and I just want to give you guys my honest review of it. I'm gonna go through each and every one of the attributes, let you guys know if there's anything I should tweak. If there isn't, I'm not gonna tell you guys to tweak anything. Before we get into it though, like, comment, and subscribe. Jesus Christ first always, man. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're gonna be a point guard. Our height's gonna be 6'5", our weight's gonna be 175, our wingspan's gonna be 6'6". Again, this is copy and paste from Swag, the exact same build, but I'm gonna give you guys some insight, maybe some things you could tweak here and there. I will say, as a point guard 6'5", this build can actually play the shooting guard pretty decently well. Now you will, if you end up taking this build to the pro-am, you are going to be kind of undersized, so just keep that in mind. I ran this build both on the point guard and at the shooting guard. I think it excels in both, for the reason specifically is that it has an 85 pass hack. 85 pass hack is not the best for a point guard, but it definitely is serviceable, and probably the lowest I would go if I'm really going to throw the rock like that. I was running Cade Cunningham, and it was actually pretty solid. But yes, minimum weight, I was a little bit worried about that, but I think it's actually debatable whether you actually need to be that light. But our wingspan, we're going to be 6'6", so we can get the 96 3-point, which you will see in a little bit. But look, here's the build. So let's kind of move on to the physicals. What I want to show you guys is that here we have an 85 speed. I was a little bit worried that 85 speed wasn't going to be enough, but actually looking back, I think being a little bit lighter does actually help you run a little bit faster. So I'm not too mad at the 85 speed. Again, not the fastest. I think there's a lot of faster builds out there, but 85 speed definitely wouldn't be something that I felt was something that I wanted to tweak. 85 speed was more than enough, basically, is what I'm getting at. Maybe before we get into this 80 agility, I just want to let you guys know I had 10 cap breakers on this build, and my specialization was shooting. The defense specialization is what Swag recommended, is what he had unlocked on his 2K career already, but I have shooting specialization, and I only have the +1 badge and the +1 cap breaker. So just keep that in mind. A total of 10 cap breakers. One of those was the shooting specialization cap breaker. So with that being said, you see we only have silver on-ball menace. We are eventually going to +2 our perimeter to a 92 perimeter, and that's going to be able to unlock the gold. When I decided to run into the pro-am, what I did do was max +2 this, since I'm level 40 on the season, and you do get legend on-ball menace. Now I will say this, legend on-ball menace is not as good in my opinion versus if you were able to pair it up with a little bit of strength, having a movable enforcer. But that's just my 2 cents. We're not even on the defense yet, but that's just my 2 cents right there. Again, we neglect the strength because we're minimum weight, and strength doesn't really get us anything in that regard. But our vertical is going to be an 80. This is important because eventually we're going to get our driving dunk to 93, and you need that 80 vertical paired with that 93 driving dunk in order to get that posterizer on gold, as well as unlock a lot of good dunk animations. So let's go ahead and move on. I think the first thing I want to start with, that does actually segue nice into our finishing. Again, we have this driving dunk. The cool thing about this build, you put +2 on this driving dunk and you get a 93 driving dunk. That's the most important attribute here on the finishing. You're going to be able to dunk on people. You're going to get gold posterizer. You could even +1 or +2. Let's see if the posterizer, what tier list this is, if it's a tier 1 or a tier 2. I believe that it is a tier 1, but I'll double check that for you guys right here. So yes, posterizer, gold posterizer specifically, is going to be a tier 1 badge. So just keep that in mind if you do want to get and run legend posterizer. I actually think posterizer is a really good badge on this game, and dunking in general is a lot better than layup, as I've mentioned in many of my previous videos. I do not fool with layup like that. Maybe I will make a build if that's something you guys want to see, with 99 layup, just see how sweaty it is. That's beyond the point. Driving dunk at a 93, dunk on people. You're going to be really quick. The takeover that you should equip with this is literally just only speed with ball and deep bomber, as he recommends in his video. With that fast speed with ball, you're really going to be able to just run right past people and go straight to the rim. A very important and very fun build to play with on a 93 driving dunk. 93 driving dunk might honestly be the perfect middle ground to put it on all of your builds, especially at 6'5". You're going to need a little bit more speed, a little bit more driving dunk in order to dunk on your opponents and get to that rim with maximum efficiency. So yeah, I'm sure I'm throwing you guys a lot of clips right here in the driving dunk section. You guys are going to be able to see me dunking on people. You guys are going to be able to see me blowing past my defender. We'll get into the playmaking, but with the ball handle speed with ball, be able to make some crazy moves to the basket and just get there and just dunk on people. So there's really not much more to be said. The 40 driving dunk is important, and I don't know if I've done this yet, but I will give you guys my animations on the screen right here. But the 40 standing dunk is important because you will be able to slash off ball. If you want to play this build in the shooting guard position, you will be able to slash and get that standing dunk animation because you are 6'5". For those of you who don't know, if you're less than 6'5" in your height, you won't be able to get the standing dunk. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the shooting. Again, 91 three-pointer is going to unlock. It's going to be +5. I use one of my build specializations to be able to +5 this all the way to a 96 three-pointer. There's literally no critique that I could have at all with this. And he gave us this jump shot that you'll see on the screen right here. I am literally shooting lights out on this build. Like, I can't even explain it, bro. You can do the no dips. You can shoot from hella deep. You will be able to get this limitless range to Hall of Fame when you do this 96 three-pointer. I will say limitless range in general, not the best badge, but you do get a bunch of other super good badges when you go to 96-3. And I mean, just roll the clips, bro. Like, this is my first build with the lefty jumper. That jumper's money. Use the tempo. I can't speak for just using the X button, but you will be able to get Hall of Fame, set shot specialist. Deadeye's gonna go crazy. Limitless range. If you could +1 it to legend. Shifty shooter. You could do the middies you see in his video, which I'm sure you've already seen. You can do the midi fades. Again, 81 mid-range. I don't really shoot mid-ranges as much, but 81 is for sure gonna be enough for you. A 95 free throw. If you want to go to the pro-am, you're literally not gonna miss. Let's go ahead and move on to the playmaking. Look, 85 pass ac. I ran Cade Cunningham's pass accuracy. I was running Jimmy Butler for a little second. I do think Cade Cunningham's is better. You are going to be able to get bronze bailout. You're going to get gold versatile visionary, silver break starter, and gold dimer. Gold dimer is really important because then you can +2 that all the way to legend. And if you're going to run point, be running that gold dimer or that legend dimer. It's super important. The 85 ball handle, we're going to +1 that to 86 ball handle in order to get silver ankle assassin. And then the speed whip. Sorry, we're not gonna +1 the ball handle. We're gonna +1 the speed whip ball. That's gonna give us this gold lightning launch. We're gonna unlock these animations that you see on the screen right here. And there's really not much to say other than you're gonna be cheesy. Like, if you put these SIGs that I'm gonna show you right here, exactly what Swag recommended, do the Devin Booker step backs, spam it, literally. There's this other move where people be like jumping forward, which I seen him do in the pro-am. I haven't really mastered that move yet. I don't know exactly what animation that is to equip, but that might just be something that you'll want to add to your bag in the event that you make this build, only because it's literally almost impossible. Like, I'll be in front of them in the pro-am, they just hit that move and get a wide open crab. It's pretty OD. So just keep that in mind. You can do that with this build. You could have the best dribble SIGs, really. I have mentioned this in my previous videos, but even for bigger builds, like my 6'8 build, you can get crazy cheesy animations. There's certain motivations behind why you want a smaller guard, but bigger guards like 6'5 all the way to 6'8 and almost 6'9, you can have some crazy dribble animations. I really think that's just game breaking in this game. But yes, I'm sure I'm gonna roll you guys enough clips to just convince you that this is not to be tweaked with. Let's go ahead and move on to the defense for the last attribute. Let's roll through the O board. I will say that O board at 60 and defensive rebound at 50, it's nice to have the box out beast, nice to have the rebound chaser, but honestly, if you could tweak this a little bit, you don't really need it. Again, his motivation behind it was to be able to have the ability to get rebounds in the event that you need to, but honestly, you really don't need this rebound. I really wasn't snagging much rebounds on this build. Now let's move on to the last and final attribute, to the defense. We're gonna go with a 90 perimeter. We're gonna +2 that to a 92, and we're gonna get the best defensive badges. Let me show you guys right here. So we will be able to get gold on ball menace. Again, I +2 this. I was running legend. Still don't think it's as good as having a mixture of on ball and movable enforcer. That's just my 2 cents. I feel like when you're a little bit lighter in your weight, you need a little bit more. I don't know. Defenders seem to just be able to swing past you a little bit easier. Again, we're gonna go with the 92 perimeter, +2 that, so we're able to get this gold challenger. You can +1 that to Hoff. That's exactly what I was doing. And I'll show you guys my badge perk loadout right here. Gold pick dodger. It's serviceable. It's not lock level, but it's still serviceable. And then you did put a 60 block on this build. You can tweak that a little bit, but I think it actually might be tied to other attributes, so just keep that in mind. But 60 block, it's really not tied to any sort of badge, so something that you could potentially change. The steal at an 85, just to finish and round off this build review. Gold interceptor is enough on its own, but if you want to be really sweaty, make sure you +1 that to at least Hall of Fame. You could even run it on legend. I think Hall of Fame is sufficient though. Only gonna have silver glove. Don't even be expecting to be picking off sweaty dudes in the pro-am or whoever you go against if they got good ball handle. Glove in general is kind of a useless badge in my opinion. But the main reason why we go 85 steal is to get this gold intercept. So look, I believe honestly, there's really nothing that I would tweak about this build beyond the O board, the D board, and the block. And still, that's very minimal. So I think this is probably one of my favorite builds. I do have the little hick of I don't have on ball menace paired with a movable enforcer, which I think could make this build even better. But for that reason, I'm gonna give this build a 9 out of 10. Let's go ahead and see what shades we get with this build. Again, we're gonna be James Harden. Swag's been cooking, bro. That's all I could say. We're gonna be a 2-way 3-point slasher. Jalen Suggs, Steve Francis, Shea Gilgeous, and then again the no big weaknesses to report. Look, if you guys want to check out my 6'11 center that I made Joey 2K specifically, click right here. Thank you guys for getting to the end of this video. Look, God bless you guys. Until the next one, deuces.